What's up, DC Nation? Welcome back to another video, and 2022 has been an interesting year for DC Comics. We had yet another crisis, a dark crisis. We've had a lot of new ongoing series, a lot of new creative teams, and now we're going into the dawn of DC for 2023. But what I'm going over in this video is the top 10 best DC comics for 2022, okay? I'm going to talk about the positives and maybe talk about Dark Crisis at the end of the video and then give my thoughts on the dawn of DC, okay? What titles am I excited for 2023? Now, what is included in this top 10 list is one-shots, limited series, maxi series, and story arcs. Now, what I mean by story arcs is in like an ongoing series, a complete story, so like 5 issues or so. I'm not just doing like a single issue in a story arc, because I want to talk about complete stories because I feel like that's better. So if you guys haven't seen some of the series on this list, you could go to that story arc and just read that and enjoy a complete story, okay? Because that's the whole point. We read comics for complete stories that we can get invested into with the greatest DC heroes, okay? Now, starting out at number 10, Batman Spawn #1, a one-shot that came out at the end of 2022, written by Todd McFarlane, art by Greg Capullo, and what about this? This comic could have been #1 on this list. Yeah, a lot of potential, a lot of hype, and I was expecting it to be #1. I was expecting to be that good. Now, was it that good? Nah. Todd McFarlane's writing kinda held it back, but it was still a great comic book. Like the art by Greg Capullo, phenomenal. Seeing Batman Spawn fight once again, then team up against the Court of Owls and Talon, that was dope. So there's still a lot to like in this one shot, but it had the potential to be even better. Now, coming in at number 9, we got Batman Failsafe. Issues number 125 to 130 in the ongoing Batman series. Now, this is the very first storyline in Chip Zdarsky's new Batman run, artwork by Jorge Jimenez, and yeah, the artwork in this story arc is amazing. Jorge Jimenez is one of my favorites, if not my favorite artist in the comic book industry. His art is so slick, and seeing him draw Batman, Robin, Superman, the Justice League, Batman and Zur-En-Arrh, like, it was so cool. And yeah, speaking of Batman and Zur-En-Arrh, seeing him involved again after so long, like the last time we saw Batman and Zur-En-Arrh was in the Grant Morrison Batman run, and to see that brought back, honestly, this first storyline of Chip Zdarsky is heavily inspired by Grant Morrison, and the idea of Batman having a failsafe and him fighting against it, but ultimately, like, he can't beat it. Like, this robot is too strong. Like, Batman had prep for himself. Like, he set up a Tower of Babel, you could say, for himself. Tower of Babel, preparing for the Justice League if they went rogue. Failsafe, preparing for if Batman went rogue. Now, the flaws in this storyline and why it's not higher on the list is because the ending, there's some parts that are kinda ridiculous. Like Batman falling into the earth and not getting hurt at all. Also, there is at times the tension is not really there because Failsafe beats our hero so easily, and I'm like, alright, like, it can't be this easy to the point where Failsafe just beats Superman with kryptonite. Like, some of it is very predictable, and that kind of takes away from the investment and just be immersed in the storyline. Like, there's certain times when I was reading it, especially in issues number 128 and 129, where I was like, okay, that would not happen, or, oh, okay, this is just the same old thing, like, there's nothing new here. But there's also other times in the storyline where I'm like, alright, Chip Zdarsky is in his bag, like, he's getting creative. I'm hoping As Chip Zdarsky continues his run, it just gets better. But for now, this is a good storyline that made it to the top 10 list, but it could have been higher if there was less ridiculous moments. Next up on our list, we got Action Comics, The Warworld Saga. Written by Philip K. Johnson, art by Daniel St. Pierre. This is issues from 1036 to 1042. Now, I'm kind of cheating here, okay? It's not a, well, it is a complete story, but it's half of like a saga. Because these issues cover like the first half of the Warworld Saga, then we go into the Warworld Revolution after that, and the Warworld Revolution I didn't really like. It was kind of disappointing, and that's why I'm not including it here, but the first like 5 or 6 issues, actually I think it was like 7 issues of the Warworld Saga was really good. Daniel St. Pierre's artwork, phenomenal. Like, he did such a great job here. Really put him on the map for great artists in the comic book industry. And then Philip K. Johnson, he was in his bag in this storyline. Like, having Superman and the Authority team up against Mongol. Mongol, one of my favorite Superman villains. Like, there was a lot of action, good tension, suspense, and I was invested. So yeah, if you want good Superman storyline, I recommend this one. Next up on our list, coming in at number 7, we got Nightwing, The Battle for Bludhaven's Heart. Issues number 92 to 96, written by Tom Taylor, arts by Bruno Redondo. Bruno Redondo, he kills it here. His artwork is amazing here. Like, it looks so good. He goes all out. So alright, artwork, phenomenal. Now, for the writing, I really feel like Tom Taylor actually met his potential here. Like, so far in his Nightwing run, it's been good. Like, it's flowed, there's been a lot of guest stars, it's been entertaining, but it hasn't reached a point where I'm like, alright, this is an amazing run. It's more just been solid. But I felt like this storyline actually reached a point where I'm like, okay, this run is getting somewhere. We're making progress. Blockbuster is a formidable foe, and what happens at the end of the storyline sets up an even more formidable foe that gets me excited. So yeah, great storyline. Also, for fans of the Nightwing and Batgirl ship, you're going to enjoy this. Next up on our list, coming in at number 6, we got a 6-issue limited series, Sword of Azrael. Now, you're probably surprised to see this on this list because it's such a obscure title, but I loved this limited series. And it's actually not over yet. It's only like 5 issues in. It has its finale coming out like next month, but I already know it's gonna be good because the 5th issue really convinced me to put it on this list. Like, so far, the first 4 issues, it was really good. The artwork was on point. The writing was really good. And Azrael, he's one of those characters that I care about sometimes when he's written well, but most of the time, he's just not used well, and I just forget about his character. But here, I actually got invested in his character. This is the first time I've been invested in his character since, say, like the James Tynion Detective Comics run, which was like almost 5 years ago. So yeah, if you're an Azrael fan, I highly recommend Sword of Azrael. Starting out the top 5, we got the Black Label 3-issue miniseries Aquaman Andromeda, okay? So I was trying to decide what Ram V work I would put on this top 10 list. And I was initially thinking Detective Comics, but I read Aquaman Andromeda, and the artwork by Zermanico, phenomenal. Like, really good. The artwork, it gets you invested. But the writing by Ram V, I think this might be Ram V's best work yet. It's so good. It's more like it's a horror take on Aquaman. That's how I would describe it. Like, just the suspense, the eeriness of the story, how Aquaman acts, how Black Manta is involved. It's so cool, and if you're an Aquaman fan, I highly recommend it. Coming in at number 4, we got The Flash, Vengeance is Mine. Issues number 775 to 779. Written by Jeremy Adams. Guys, Wally West has not been treated the best in the past, 10 years. But these past, 2 years, when Jeremy Adams jumped in the Flash title and made it all about Wally West, his family, Ivory and Shy, Linda, it got interesting. Finally, Wally was in the spotlight again, and we're getting good Wally West storylines. But this storyline, where he teams up with the Justly Dark, Dr. Fates, up against Eclipso, is one of my favorite Flash storylines in a long time. It is so good. Just seeing Wally team up with his kids, face off against his darkness, and especially the meta commentary in issue number 776, where Wally and Dr. Fates are literally talking to the reader. It's so creative, and it shows that the Flash is in good hands. Now, coming in at number 3, we got Batman, Superman, World's Finest, Strange Visitor. You thought I was going to say the Devil Nesta, the first storyline, but no. It's actually the recent storyline that's getting on this list. Issues number 7 to 11. This storyline has actually not completely finished yet, so I'm kind of cheating here. It only has one more issue, but man, I had to include this story. Because, okay, the beginning where Superman gets a sidekick like Robin is the Batman, that was a good premise. But when the story continues and we get Joker involved and we get the Teen Titans involved, the story ramps up. I'm like, okay, I'm really enjoying this. It's on par with the first story of Mark Waid's run. Yeah, this is written by Mark Waid, art by Dan Mora. Guys, Dan Mora, one of the best comic book artists in the industry. He's up there with Jorge Jimenez, maybe even better. I go back and forth between the two, but yeah, Dan Mora delivers some of the best artwork in his career here, and Mark Waid, he's back. He comes back with good writing, and yeah, the story is really good. But what convinced me to put this story so high on this list is the latest issue, issue number 10, where we find out who Boy Thunder is, the new sidekick to Superman. We find out who he is in the DC universe, who he becomes, how he's connected to Joker, and guys, when that reveal happened, when I was reading that issue and I got to the end of the issue and we got left with that crazy cliffhanger, I got hyped, man. I'm like, what? Like that, I literally said, what, out loud. I'm like, are you serious? It makes so much sense. It makes sense that Mark Waid would do this. I'm not gonna spoil it. You go read it for yourself if you haven't. It is such an experience. And I'm so excited to see the story finish in January. Mark Waid and Dan Mora, they're making Batman Superman World's Finest a must-read. Now, coming in at number 2. We got Arkham City, The Order of the World, okay? A limited series, the 6-issue main series, written by Dan Waters, and guys, this is basically like a sequel to Batman: A Serious House on Serious Earth, in a way, like a spiritual sequel. It has the same vibes, the same eerie background, obscure characters, they're put in the spotlight like the Ten-Eyed Man. Guys, the Ten-Eyed Man is the MVP of the story. He is so cool. Also, Azrael's in here. He's really cool. And Solomon Grundy, there's so many Batman rogues in here, and they're written phenomenally, especially Ten-Eyed Man. I loved how the story focused on Ten-Eyed Man, how the story incorporated Professor Pig, and the end of the storyline is so well done. When I finished reading the story, I was content. I was like, wow, this is a good 6-issue miniseries that completed every plot line. It kept me invested throughout. The artwork is really good, and I highly recommend it. You guys gotta check out this miniseries. Now, before we get to number 1, I got an honorable mention. It's the Batman The Long Halloween Special, okay? It's a one-shot, came out in October, and it continues the Batman Long Halloween Dark Victory storyline. We see all the same characters. We got Gilda in the forefront, and I like it. Like, it's probably not gonna be continued. I hope it does, but it was still a good one-shot, and if it's written by the same creators of Batman The Long Halloween. And yeah, if you like Batman The Long Halloween, which I definitely do, one of the best Batman stories of all time, if you like it, then I highly recommend this special. Now, for number 1, coming in at number 1, Robin The Lazarus Tournament. Issues number 1 through 12. Yeah, 12 issues. I'm really throwing it at you guys right now. 12 issues of Joshua Williamson's Robin run about Damian Wayne. And this story, I was already hyped when it was announced, but it exceeded my expectations. The premise of the story is Damian Wayne, the son of Batman, has left the Bat family and has left the Teen Titans. And he travels to Lazarus Island. He's burdened by the death of Alfred, and he competes in this tournament called the Lazarus Tournament, where he faces off against some of the best fighters in the DC universe. It's a lot of action. It is so fun. I enjoyed the heck out of the scene. Damian Wayne, the son of Batman, face off against Connor Hawke, the son of Green Arrow, and how Mother Soul is included, Talia al Ghul, Ra's al Ghul, the background of the Al Ghul history, and how the story just progresses, like the Lazarus demon being involved. It is so cool. Like, I love this story. That's why I'm putting it at number 1. There's a lot of action, a lot of twisted turns, good character interactions, and overall, good finish. Now, what this story led into, the Shadow War and Dark Crisis, is not that good. Like, Joshua Williamson kind of he didn't fell off. It's just his work after this series was kind of disappointing, but his work here on the Robin series was phenomenal. Like, I gotta give credit to the guy. I loved his Flash run, but I think his Robin run is even better. So yeah, if you're a fan of Damian Wayne, if you like comics that have a lot of action, well choreographed fights, then I highly recommend it. It deserves this number 1 spot. Now that we completed the top 10 list, I want to talk about 2 more things, okay? Actually, more like 3, kinda. So, first thing I want to talk about is the Dark Crisis ending, and Dark Crisis as a whole. So, Dark Crisis, written by Joshua Williamson, arts by Daniel St. Pierre. Daniel St. Pierre, he put a lot of passion into his artwork. His artwork here is some of the best in his entire career. It's really good. So yeah, props to Daniel St. Pierre. Joshua Williamson, on the other hand, his writing is not bad here, but it is disappointing. It's not as good as his prior works, and I think it's more because of editorial, like they kind of held him down, and he wasn't really able to go to an epic level of storytelling. He kind of held back. So yeah, get to the positives first, because I want to talk about the positives of Dark Crisis, then we'll get to the negatives. First positive is we actually had no delays for once. Like, this 7-issue event series ran for 7 months without no breaks. And that's good. Like, compared to Doomsday Clock, which was 12 issues and ran for 2 years, like, you gotta give props to DC for at least keeping this Dark Crisis event cohesive and not having any delays, not breaking the momentum. Now, another positive is the overall theme of legacy. I like the theme of legacy, passing it down to Nightwing, making him the core character, him now maybe forming a Justice League, bringing back the Teen Titans, putting the Teen Titans in the forefront, seeing all the sidekicks band together against these huge, powerful villains. Like, it's a good idea. And yeah, this whole Dark Crisis event is good ideas on paper, but they're not executed well, okay? The idea of the Justice League dying and their sidekicks, the legacy heroes, had to step up and protect Earth against these all-powerful villains like Necron, Darkseid, Eclipso, Pariah, the Great Darkness. It sounds so epic, and it could have been amazing. It could have been one of the best events in DC's history, at the level of Infinite Crisis, Final Crisis, but instead, I think it's going to be events that's going to be forgotten. And the main reason is how held back the writing is. Like, you got villains like Necron, Darkseid, I already said, like, you even had Doomsday there. Like, there's so many big villains that could have been awesome, but instead, they're more just figures that don't do anything. Like, they're always in the background, and you only see them fighting in like a double page spread, and they're just a still image. Like, you don't really see them actually fighting and involved, which sucks. Like, it would have been so cool to see these heroes face one-on-one, even if we had like one-shots that saw each hero fight these big villains, but instead, they're just used as puppets, which I don't like. Like, yeah, it makes sense to the story. The Great Darkness have chained up these villains, and the Great Darkness is just using them. Like, okay. But overall, I just thought it was pretty boring. Like, the final fights is just a bunch of double page spreads, some cool moments with Jonathan Kent, and some cool moments between Nightwing and Deathstroke, Slade Wilson, but it just... The artwork by Daniel Stampere is good, but it's just the choreographed fights, like, they're not really good. Just like the writing was like, let's just get past this. Like, just go over all the cool stuff. There was too much build-up, like the first 5 issues is all build-up, just boring setup, and nothing really happened. Like, it all ended like that. Like, we finally started to get to something, the Justice League return, we're getting to the action, and then it just ends. And also, Slade Wilson, Deathstroke, how his character is written here is so repetitive, so uncreative. Like, it's not that good. Like, I did not enjoy it. And by the end of this series, I was just like, finally. Like, I was like, cool, the Justice League are back, the villains are back where they need to be. At least Nightwing had some developments, and we're finally moving into a dawn of DC, a new era. Which, a new era has been needed for a long time. I feel like ever since Dark Knight's death metal, we've just been staggering. DC doesn't know what they're doing in the comics. And actually, not even since Dark Knight's death metal, but since Doomsday Clock. Doomsday Clock was the last, like, kinda good, kinda quality events, but it didn't really lead to anything. Like, a lot of plans were cut off, and we got Future States, which was so forgettable. Like, you guys probably forgot about Future State until I mentioned it here. Then we had Dark Knight's Death Metal that had so much potential, but was just ridiculous and just all over the place. Like, it wasn't coherent. And then we have Dark Crisis, which just shows all the problems with DC in the past 3 years, I think. So yeah, I didn't really enjoy Dark Crisis. It had good ideas, but was a disappointment overall. And that epilogue with Amanda Waller, where we see the lights, which that's kinda interesting, but what I don't like is you got Peacemaker and a female Peacemaker named Peace Wrecker. Bruh. Peace Wrecker, like an antithesis to Peacemaker. Like, I don't like it. Like, it just, when I read that, I'm like, really? Like, I read an interview that told the name Peace Wrecker, and I'm like, that's just dumb, alright? Like, it's just not a good idea. They could have spent more time on that. And then the other characters behind Amanda Waller, I think we got like an oversized Bloodsport. And then to the right, we got like a bizarro version of the Batman, Superman, and Green Lantern composite version from World's Finest, which that gets me hyped. I like a Bizarro version of that. We have Bizarro, Sinestro, and Joker combine. That's how I'd see it. Or maybe like Joker and Bizarro combine, and they get a Yellow Lantern ring. That has some potential, I'll say that, but we'll see if it lives up to the potential. And then Amanda Waller now trying to kill all the metahumans. Like, I don't know, I'm not interested in it. The only thing I'm really interested in here is the inclusion of the lights. The lights are so cool in Young Justice. By the way, Young Justice, why has it not been renewed for season 5? The season 4 finale was so epic, it better get renewed, man. Like, we just got Young Justice back. You can't take it away from us that quick. But yeah, the lights being included, that could be cool, but we'll see. And that leads to my final topic in this video, the dawn of DC. Leading into 2023, a new era, certain ongoing series like Batman and Nightwing and Flash are continuing, that's good, but we're also getting new series like Superman, written by Joshua Williamson, we got the Adventures of John Kent, which I don't really care about, we got a new Green Arrow series that I'm really hyped about. We got John Stewart and Hal Jordan, the Green Lantern. They're back with their own series. We might get like a Green Arrow, Green Lantern crossover. We better, like Hard Traveling Heroes. That'd be dope. We got a Shazam series coming up, written by Mark Waid and Dan Mora. That's actually the series I'm most excited about because the creative team is so good. They've been doing a phenomenal job on World's Finest. And even better, it seems like the dawn of DC is pulling back a little bit. We're going to a more basic foundation, only a couple series that are leading to not a big event, but maybe a fight against Brainiac, like a little event, nothing huge, not another crisis, hopefully. We better not get another crisis. If we do, then there's just another bad direction. But I'm hopeful, I'm optimistic, and I hope that this dawn of DC is good. I hope it brings out this pit that we've been in DC Comics. We finally move back into the lights and get to the hype that was back in 2017 with DC Rebirth. Okay, well, 2016 and 2017. That was like the heights of quality in DC Rebirth. Like 2016 and 2017 was so cool. 2018, alright, so that was end of Dark Knight's Metal, and we had Justice League by Scott Snyder. That was cool, but then 2019 with Dark Knight's Death Metal, that was the beginning of the downfall, and it's just been not good since then. So like 4 years of being in the pits, and I hope 2023 really brings in a great new era for DC. But yeah, guys, that's gonna wrap up this video. If you like the video, give a big thumbs up. New to the channel, make sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on my next DC Comics video. Some of your thoughts on all my picks for the top 10. Also, some of your thoughts on Dark Crisis, the Epilogue, and the Dawn of DC. Which new title are you most excited for 2023? Is it Shazam, Green Arrow, John Stewart the Green Lantern, maybe even Superman? You tell me all that down below, and yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and peace out.